Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners. Anybody here can get it. You tuned into the realest now. Anybody here can get it. Treat the game like a scrimmage now. Master B with the flow. I swear nigga got no limits now. I've been ballin' for a minute. Whole team full of winners.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 8 of Off the Platform. I'm your host, Greg Turrell. I'm joined by my co-host, Jackson Hinch. How are you, Jackson?
How you doing, Greg? I'm good, thanks.
Awesome. And we've got two very special guests with us tonight. We've got Wade McLean, Te-Huia, and Christine Henwood. Welcome, guys.
Hi there. Thanks, you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yep. Okay. Pick it up. All right. So we've invited Wade and Christine tonight because they are the overall winners of the GPC International event that was held on December 6th here in Auckland and in Christchurch and in several places across Australia. So congratulations, guys, on your win. How you feeling?
Pretty good. Had a nice little rest afterwards, and yeah.
Nice.
So before I do introductions,
my second anniversary in powerlifting. I had to do it this year.
Okay, so Christy just broke up there. So it was your second anniversary in powerlifting, eh?
Yep.
Nice. And Wade, what was your deadlift? 260, I believe, from memory. No, sorry. No, that wasn't you. What was your deadlift?
260.
I don't know. Where did I get 260 from?
Don't shortchange the man. God damn.
That's a bit embarrassing. No, sorry, man. What was your deadlift there, Wade?
345.
345. That's a lot better, right?
Greg, true fan.
260.
I'm a true fan. 345. He almost benched 260.
That's right.
245.
I know. I think I saw 260 on European powerlifting. What did I see 260 against? I saw 260 and I thought, oh, that's not a bad deadlift. I don't know what I was thinking.
That was the squat from regionals, wasn't it, Wade?
That was the squat. Yeah. Okay. No, all good. Okay. All right. So let's get cracking on. Firstly, I want to introduce Christine Henwood. So Christine is 62 years old. She's a national and international lifter. She's competed around the world, and only in the space of 2 short years. So let me just read off some of these accomplishments. We've got she's the 2019 GPC Absolute World Master Women's Champion. She's the 2020 GPC New Zealand Open Women's Overall Champion. She's the IPL NZ Open Women's Overall winner of 2020. Across the 2-year period, we've got 4 world records, 8 national open records, 20 national open weight for age records, and 9 open powerlifting all federation world records. That's quite an accomplishment, Christine. How do you feel about that?
Stunned, actually.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it at all, and just going with the flow at the moment.
Awesome. So 2 years in powerlifting. What were you doing before that? Take us through bodybuilding now. For how long?
It's a kind of long story, but I've been bodybuilding since I was about 28, and I competed for about 8 years back when I was about 26 to 34, then put it aside, went back to studying, and just came into it when I was about 52 again. So for 6 years I was working bodybuilding and training with Melinda Modak, and then more recently with Alma Porter for 6 years. So yeah, and it was essentially Alma dug at me, but he's been trying to coach me or coax me into doing powerlifting. I've been saying, no, not powerlifting. And he said, Christine, you can get world records. If you don't make an attempt at it, it's a crime. And so I thought, well, I could do with the size from powerlifting and the heavy training for a while. So I said, you've got a year, Alma, you've got 1 year. And that's all I'll commit to at that point. So I got through 1 year in Slovakia, and how could I turn back then? It was quite an exceptional thing to go to Slovakia. Country, 600 competitors, just an amazing experience. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
Excellent. So you say you started bodybuilding at 28. What got you into bodybuilding?
You'll laugh at this one. My mother-in-law once, or said it to friends in front of me, meet my other daughter-in-law. She never used to be this big.
Oh.
So that's when I went back to the gym. and the ironicity of it is, she keeps asking me now when I'm going to stop.
Wait, tell us about yourself, man. Obviously, I looked at Open Powerlifting and a few of your Facebook posts. Your debut into powerlifting, has it been this year, right? Has it been, or last year?
So last year was my first comp. In October last year was just an IPL push-pull as a novice. And then this year, the 2 comps that I've done with GPC, that's my the full extent of my powerlifting career so far.
So what got you into powerlifting, eh? Because you were bodybuilding before that, yeah? Or
No, not at all. Before that, so originally I was a rugby player. I was with the Waikato Rugby Union straight out of school at 18. Just moved out of home, and I had 2 jobs as well as playing rugby. And it was all just a bit too much for a young fella. And all the potential in the world in rugby, but yeah, it just never eventuated, and things got old pretty quick there. And then I tried my hand at gridiron for a little bit, American football.
Yep.
Really enjoyed that. But I never quite had the fitness that I did when I was playing rugby. So there was one year, I think it was 2017, there was a combine here in New Zealand where there was going to be some people going from that combine to another combine in Australia, and then the top 5 from that combine were going straight into the NFL draft. So I thought, right, that's me. 2018, I'm going to be going into the NFL. That was my original goal.
Yep.
So I started training pretty hard. Originally, I was going to do a big strength block and then get in touch with the guy, Lee Bristow, to help me out with some power and speed after that.
Yep.
And then 2018 rolled around and they didn't end up having a combine at all. But by then I was pretty strong, so I just thought, well, carry on with that. And then Lee actually got in contact with me and just out of the blue messaged me on Instagram that he saw some of my videos of my lifts and stuff, and he said if I wanted him to help me out, that he'd be pretty keen. So
nice.
Yeah, and that was pretty much a year ago now, and just carried on, rolled on, went with the flow.
Nice. So what were your lifts with your first event? What did you achieve?
I had a 210 bench.
This is your first comp, yeah?
And a 300 deadlift.
Oh, wow.
First comp.
Imagine walking into a novice comp and you're like, sweet, all right, first time. And you see, wait, that guy's in my division. Oh, shit. Damn.
Wow.
Imagine it.
Did you...
well, it's quite funny, actually. Did you
win that one, eh?
Looking at the... Yeah. Oh, well, not on points. There were a couple of masters that were pretty strong guys. But it was funny, when I was warming up for bench and stuff, and we were looking at all the opening benches. I think the next closest opener was like 150 or something, and I opened on 200.
Oh no, one of those, eh?
So they had to chuck a couple of reds on the outside. Yeah,
that would have been me. That would have been me opening on 150, going, what's the point?
Oh well, yeah. Why am I here?
So that was the IPL comp, 210, and that was only last year. And then your next event was the GPC Auckland Regionals, eh?
Auckland, yep.
And what did you lift there?
So I went into that one. I was carrying a couple of injuries, but maintained them pretty well. I only did 2 attempts on my squat, and second attempt was that 260 that you were talking about before. I reckon I was good for 280 plus, but had a niggly bicep, so I thought if I'm going to get through this day, I'm going to have to call it there.
Yep.
Pretty sure that 260 was beltless and like the world's smallest knee sleeves. From what I remember.
Yeah, the smallest ones that could fit.
Yeah. They're probably normal size. They just look ridiculous on weight. A 232.5 bench. So just pipped the record by like 2.5 kgs. And then 335 deadlifts.
Nice. And that was 8.
That was a record.
8.6. What was the total on that, Jackson? Do you know?
It's 832.5, isn't it?
832.5. Yeah.
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 832.5. Yeah. 827.5 was it? 827.5.
827.5 sorry. Carried a 5 somewhere.
Yeah. So that was your debut anyway for 2020 for GPC, coming in with an 827.5 kilo title. So that's nothing to laugh about. It's a big achievement for, essentially only your second year of competing, eh? In the 140 plus class, yeah.
Yeah, mate, you've seen Wade. He's not under 140. He's never. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
he's going one way, and that's up.
You came in at 168.8, eh? So what's your ideal body weight? What do you feel comfortable with? And what do you think you're going to continue?
I feel comfortable. Pretty comfortable right where I am, mate. I'm like, at the moment, I sit around 171. And
ridiculous.
You feel comfortable.
I mean, it's not.
Feel comfortable at 171. What the?
Yeah.
No, but wait, how tall are you, Wade? You're like 6'6", yeah? 6'5", 6'6".
No. I think I'm like 6'3.5". 6'1" on a good day, maybe.
Oh, it must be the dreads.
Yeah.
Keep the dreads up.
Yeah, could be.
Nice. And then what have you done since then? So I've done the push pull the other weekend where you topped out at 345, narrowly missing 363.5. I'm reading these results correctly.
Yep.
Happy with 345?
Well, yeah. I mean,
that's a no. That's a definite no.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too good.
I definitely it was not an ideal lead up to the comp. But I mean, no excuses. We just compete with what we've got on the day and do our best there. A big thing that I try and do with my training is you know how when people go for a big lift or a personal best or something, they need just the right conditions, sort of thing. They have to play that certain song before the lift or anything, something like that. You know, little rituals. But for me, I try and make sure that it's whatever conditions, you know, and just do it anyway.
Yep. Just come in on the day and
good skill to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah. Rather than those little things being able to throw you off, it's just potential weaknesses, I guess.
Yeah. You do see, I don't know, Jackson.
So
I've seen some rituals. Different people have different rituals as they come onto the platform.
Yeah, it's funny that, to be honest, these days, some of them have gotten a bit fucking out of hand. I don't know if you've seen some of the sumo deadlift setups that people have. It is actually ludicrous. They almost time themselves out.
The time they take to spread their toes out.
To do their setup, they do some dance and a little jiggle and they plant their feet, tippy toes. Just lift the bar.
Yeah, I've seen some of the one with the hands and there's people swinging their
Yeah, they're
arms
doing
around.
like jazz hands and
Yeah. Oh, look,
Pose.
like full credit to them. Obviously, it works.
yeah,
as
but
weight,
what does it do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. We'll
Is
have
it
to get.
adding to your tightness? Is it adding to your stability,
I
or
guess it's some sort of mental preparation for a few of them, eh?
muscle activation maybe?
Yeah. I mean, I'll see a few things, and I think that's not really a stretch, or it's not really anything that's going to aid
No.
them in the lift, but they do it anyway, and full power to them. It's working because some of them are doing some pretty good lifts. So
I definitely agree with, like, especially from a technical standpoint. Like, I mean, I teach it to all my athletes. Like, you treat every rep the same, so you want to go through the same process every time. So when you're deadlifting, you've got a certain set of cues that you go over in their head. Most of my clients say to me, I hate it, but I love it. But they have like a tape recording of me in their head just from talking at them. It's the most monotone voice they've ever heard.
Yeah.
But they just have you have a routine that you go through. So I get I do the same thing. You'll do certain cues, certain routines every time you lift. But I mean, do you need to take 45 seconds to set up for a deadlift? I don't know.
No, honestly, it drives. Yeah. When you're reffing, you got to eye on that clock and you keep thinking, okay, they're going to do it. They're going to do it.
Yeah, he's going to go.
15 seconds,
Yeah.
10 seconds, and they pop it out and it's got a second to go. It's like, driving me mad. Christine, do you have any rituals before you go up to lift?
No, I don't. I keep it simple. I just focus on the bar and me. That's it.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. You just don't know where you're going to be, when you're going to be there, what time and place, or what interferes with you. Just keep it to the basics.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the more things you add to it, I suppose, the more things can go wrong.
Yeah.
Really.
So, Christine, a 200 kilo deadlift was your achievement for the day. You happy with that? You should be.
Yeah, there's a story to that. With my calf, I tore the fascia in my calf before the Nationals, about 3 weeks before.
Was that leg pressing, Christine?
I was leg pressing, actually.
Yeah, I remember seeing the video.
But it was on the last set, or almost the last rep of the last set, and it just came out of the blue. Just the awful sound of like a guy cracking his knuckles. You know how they roll across their hands and crack, 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 crack. And Alma looked at me and said, "What the hell was that?" And I said, "Well, it wasn't the machine." Fortunately, I'd already got it to the top and could deload immediately, but the damage was done. It took about 20 to 25 kilos off both my squat and my deadlift, and I'm only just really recovering from it now. So that 200 deadlift was at about, as specification by Alma, 80% of my 1RM. I wasn't allowed to go more. So there's more in me, but for this year, it's got to remain uncovered.
Okay. So what's the plan next year? As much as you can tell us.
Well, it's just starting to come together, really. It's going to be a huge year, but lots of things happening from really September onwards. Big competitions then. So I really have to kind of try and focus the first half of the year on getting good base training done and just solid work for the first half of the year. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to support a lot of the competitions that are just coming up and starting off, because a lot of people are making real efforts out there in the regions to pull the people together and do things. So, it's really nice to actually go out and be with the people and enjoy the days that aren't all that pressured for results. So I'd like to go. Mike's having a competition. Like to go down to him. I would like to go to Tonu with Hamish. I would dearly love to get involved with the IPL team that's taking on the Anzac event, because from what I've watched, the Australians are bragging about always holding the team trophy. And it's about time they got the brag rights taken off them. And I'd really like to be a part of a team that does that.
What are they doing with that, Christine, with that Anzac event? Are they doing it here and there and doing it virtual, or are they...
Yeah, they're doing it in Rotorua and in Australia.
Cool.
From what I gather, they're not...
And then collating the results?
Yes.
Cool.
So it'll be very similar to GPC's push-pull.
Yeah, it's a 3-lift, is it?
2. Oh, no, it must be 3-lift.
The Anzac one, yeah.
Anzac,
Is that 3-lift?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Now, given it might not be virtual, so given the recent news over here in New Zealand that the travel bubble will be extended potentially to Australia very soon, that Anzac comp might not be might not be virtual after all, so it might be in person, which will probably make it a bit more exciting.
I don't think so. I think they'll run it in the 2 different countries. It'll be too late for people to plan for travel. Too late to have absolute certainty on the event. So, if they plan it in 2 different sites, they can guarantee it, can't they, virtually?
Yeah.
Like I say, you'd be pushing the limits of what you can organise. You can't really confirm everything a month out, and it'd be expensive for people to book flights and stuff. Yeah.
So, Christine, now given your status as absolute Masters overall champion, do you have any plans to take on fellow Masters from around the world?
Next year, you mean? Yes, so I'm going back to the GPC Worlds.
Oh, you are? Okay.
In Poland?
Yeah. I looked at the temperature there the other day. It's 1 degree at this time of year, so it's likely to be a little bit more on the chillier side than Nova
Make sure you warm up. Yeah.
Yeah, and but Poland, what an amazing place to go to. And I'll go further than that too, but I've still got to confirm that I can get access to certain competitions.
Yeah. Now, long term, what are your plans?
At the moment, to get to the end of next year, I just want to keep gaining strength. Every logic says, I shouldn't be as strong as I am. And I keep telling Alma, what should I expect? And he quite frankly says to me, we have no idea. We're in unknown territory. I've gained for the last 2 years. There is no indication that I'll stop gaining yet. And while I could say that, I could cruise now, go back to the GPC Worlds and take my Masters title again. But that's not enough. That's not enough to just cruise for me. It's not in my nature. So how far can I step forward? I don't know yet. 62 heading on 63 next year, it's just unknown. It is unknown.
Where is
probably a great...
Where is the competition for Masters in your opinion from a federation point of view? Because obviously, we all both know the GPC Worlds is probably a very easy win for you. But what about the other federations? Can you see yourself? Do they have a strong Masters division and strong competitors?
Well, IPL and World Raw Powerlifting are on a par with GPC. Okay. So technically they are within my scope. After that, this year, actually in November, there was meant to be a GPC Pro Masters competition held. Now that got postponed, obviously, because of COVID, and I don't think it will be pulled together in 2021. It will require a bit more time to get that coordinated. But to be honest, Masters are competing in whatever competitions that recognise age as a factor. There are some amazing lifters out there. Alan Stein is the world's top master, age rated. You've got some wonderful bodybuilders that are actually rating at in amongst the top open lifters. So, I guess I see myself going to the end of 2021, achieving what I can at world championship levels, and then looking to the likes of World Raw in America, or IPL goes through to the Olympia platform. And so I could compete at the Olympia platform. I've already got the points. I've already got the lifts that will allow me access to that competition. So I could go to technically the Olympia stage. Yes, I am looking at opportunities out there. But, even so, I've looked recently, I don't know if anyone else has been observing, but there was the Great Lakes competition in Canada. Now, their best lifter over there lifted slightly under me. It's just slightly. So, the lifts that I'm doing are not unachievable for me to place very highly in American competitions. So then it's just a matter of where do I want to travel and what do I want to do and what do I need to do to get access to those competitions.
It's a very, I don't know, what's the comparison you would say between bodybuilding and powerlifting in terms of access to competitions and, support for athletes financially to be able to make these big trips?
There is no support either in powerlifting or bodybuilding, so that's very similar. In bodybuilding, really you're looking, the travel costs are the same. You either go to Europe and compete on the bodybuilding stage there, and the costs are the same as they are to go to a European powerlifting contest, or you head over to America, and realistically, your costs to travel and compete in America are just the same as it is to go to Europe. So then it comes down to what is the likelihood of you getting recognition at a world elite level through bodybuilding as compared to powerlifting. And personally, I actually see more opportunities in powerlifting than bodybuilding. If you look at bodybuilding and you think, who are the world leaders in bodybuilding? You think of Mr. Olympia. How many Mr. Olympias are there? One. And he usually reigns for how many years?
Yeah.
Right? So powerlifting is a much more dynamic base than that. It's your ability to lift. It is more based on numbers. You either lift it or you don't. And really there is less, there's more objectivity in powerlifting.
Yeah, much more quantifiable. That's what pulls a lot of people in.
Bodybuilding is a valuable tool to have in a powerlifter's kit, because once you get up to speed there, you can control your body weight. But objectivity wise, you're going to be evaluated on your physical performance in powerlifting, and that is much more attractive.
Yep, absolutely. Wade, what's the plan? What's the 5-year plan? Is there a 5-year plan? Do you want to see yourself competing internationally? I think Jackson and I would agree there's a 1,000 kilo total in there.
Has to be. It's going to beat me to it.
5 years is a bit far ahead from where I've looked. For me at the moment, it's pretty hard to see where the ceiling is. So it's pretty hard to plan, like when we get there sort of thing. So for now, I've just got plans for next year. Comps I want to do, the Wolfpack Invitational specifically. and
And July,
GPC
1,000 kilos.
Nationals. Those are the two big ones,
Nice.
at least.
So your training style, does it,
and
tell us about your training style. Does it lead you to compete? You're going to peak for the 2 comps next year?
yeah. So pretty much like I'm just looking at the next thing in front of me, which is that Wolfpack Invitational 4. I'll probably try and do something to qualify for GPC Nationals, but I'm not gonna push myself to the point where I'm gonna get injured or do anything silly there. Just enough to qualify, and then it'll be just all guns blazing for Wolfpack.
Nice.
I don't really want to. I think this year I sort of did a few dumb things where I was like, things weren't really planned, and I was sort of just like maxing out at times for like some filming opportunities and stuff, and it was just like not really ideal, not ideal prep. So yeah, pretty much.
Got to keep the fans happy.
So I definitely next year I just want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I've picked my comp and set my goals, and that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I think me and Wade, we've talked we talk a bit online and stuff, and we've talked about not doing silly max outs and I mean Christine's very much the same. Like you guys, each of you have been powerlifting for less than 2 years, or like Christine said, she's just clocked over 2 years, and Wade's a year deep now. So like they're both very much beginners in powerlifting, but even though they are very, very strong, they are both a beginner, but then also very advanced because they're so strong. So you can't afford to max out all the time when you're that strong. Christine obviously has Alma, and then Wade has Lee. So it's those sorts of things like Christine was saying, how her and Alma plan out the next year. You plan out your maxes, and so that's what Wade's just figuring out now. He's a bit gung-ho sometimes, but loves it. But yeah, planning out when you're going to max and, what training block leads on the next. We sort of talked about in that, I think it was episode 5, Greg, how your training blocks have to build on each other, instead of just randomly maxing out. And saying, I'll have a bash at this today. I wonder what I bench today,
Yeah.
Having a set goal each time.
Christine, in terms of recovery, how do you find it? In relation to comparison to maybe some of your younger years. Did you know?
Well, I never did this in my younger. I never did powerlifting when I was younger. So, but even back to bodybuilding, powerlifting is so dramatically different to bodybuilding. I have trouble coming to grips with it. I trained hard in bodybuilding, really hard, but powerlifting trumps all. So there's a few things I've learned. Alma's been exceptionally patient with me. That if I train hard on a single workout, I'll be sore maybe that night, and the next day I'm recovered, ready to go again. But in certain instances, depending on the type of training he's doing, I won't get sore till the next day, and recovery takes 2 days. In that respect, the recovery happens, but to get recovery, I have to have adequate sleep, and I have to have good food. I have to pile into I've found more recently in the last 3 months, that if I have branch chains, some glucose, sugars, as I walk out of the gym, I recover a lot faster. It depends on the type of workout. There are some workouts that Alma does, and it's quite distinctly different, and I have no control over it. Some of them can hit me that night and the next day, and then it's right. But some of them go much, much deeper. And in that case, one workout just recently, I did the workout, felt good through it, performed well, did all that was asked of me, got off the gym floor, didn't feel too bad. I thought, okay, that was an all right workout. Traveling home takes me an hour to get home. By the time I got home, I had trouble getting out of the car.
Wow.
And within an hour, I was actually to the point where I actually thought I'd pulled my back, I'd knocked my hips out, and it was all I could do is to lie down and go to sleep. And that's why I train at night, because so I can get up the next morning. It's like I'd been hit by a steam train. And I said to Al, what have you done? And he says, yeah, it's okay. I was expecting that, just eat heaps.
He was sitting at home waiting for the text.
Yeah, he was a bugger. He knew exactly what he'd done to me. And the different style of workouts, it's quite different. And this is why you have to know what sort of territory you're playing in, what rep range, and how you're doing it. I am very fortunate to be guided through those instances.
How important have you found having a coach with powerlifting?
There's a part of me that would never accept just competing in New Zealand. And this stems from when I was around 20, watching international competitors come back to New Zealand and seeing they came back at a different level. They performed just unbelievably different simply because they'd been out of the country and competed internationally. So at that stage, I lived in Whangarei, a small hometown gym. I actually owned my own gym for 8 years, and there were no such thing as trainers. There were no such thing as coaches. There was nobody to help anybody, and I missed it so much. So when I got to Auckland and the opportunity came to have a trainer, I just felt it was such a privilege. And knowing where I wanted to go, it was a basic essential to me to compete at national level. It's not enough to go and meet somebody 3 months out and say, I want to do this competition, guide me to it. In 3 months, they don't even know how you can train at 3 months. They have no way to guide you. They don't know your metabolism. And for powerlifting, they have no idea of your ability to put work out. And that is why I've watched Alma and stayed with him now to the point where it would be very difficult for me to move away, because he has trained me for 8 years. He knows when I can't go any further. He knows if I'm not performing to max. He has protected me from injury, which at 62, you're highly likely to injure yourself, like that calf tear. It happened in an instant. And it's taken me probably 5-6 weeks to recover pretty much from it. So for me, I consider it an absolute privilege to have a trainer. To get to international elite status, I don't think you can do without a trainer. The guidance and the knowledge needed, if you try to do it, you have to do the research. And that alone is immense. So when you get the opportunity to work with somebody who has done the research for multiple people, cause and effect, he's watched multiple people do it, you just can't compete with that sort of level of expertise on your own. You're traveling in the dark. You have absolutely no idea of your potential. I certainly didn't in powerlifting, but he could see it.
Yeah. I guess that's one of those things that we talked about, Greg, when we about taking things to the next level. Like Christine says, if Christine wouldn't know you wouldn't even know where you were Christine, with like powerlifting if it hadn't been for Alma saying, "Have a go at this"?
No,
You
I had
wouldn't.
no idea.
Yeah.
What it came down to in that particular instance, Jackson, was that 4 years ago, he got me to do a video of deadlifts, and I snapped out 10 deadlifts at 140 kgs untrained.
Just
And I
doing
thought,
bodybuilding.
oh, yeah. So
Yeah.
I thought, oh, yeah. And I didn't know that was anything or meant or displayed any
anything
strength.
special?
It was just,
Yeah.
no.
That was just what you could do.
Yeah. And so, but he knew. Unfortunately, I'm typically stubborn and wouldn't swap until a couple of years ago. But a good trainer will see that. They can literally see it. And I can understand, even you, Jackson, after you've been in a sport for a while, you can see things. It becomes clearer and clearer where the abilities lie.
Oh yeah, you can spot people. I mean, I assume if Wade walked into your gym, you'd be like, right, you're going to come lift some weights. I mean, you wouldn't have to be a coach to spot that, I suppose, but
yeah.
But I think everything Christine's just said perfectly outlines stuff that we've previously outlined with people, and that each time you want to take the sport to a new level, you've got to you've got to give a sacrifice somewhere. Like you said, with for you, you've got to, if you want to be at this level that you're at now, you've got to have your sleep on point, your nutrition on point. You've got to have a coach to take it to the next, et cetera, et cetera. So there's always a sacrifice to make to take your lifting and your training to the next level. When you were bodybuilding, Christine, did you ever do any squats, bench press, deadlifts, or was it mostly machine based and free weights? Like
I come out of a gym where when I was 24 or 26, I was training hardcore bodybuilding guys like Steve Croft, Callum Chowns, Steve Turnbull, Don Steedman, and all hardcore guys. And I got to watch them, so they formed the base of my training. And it was all heavy core work, squats, deadlifts, bench press, and it always has. And that's what I like about Alma, is that all through my bodybuilding years, there's always been the core hard lifts. I don't drift into fiddly little exercises at all.
Yeah, cool.
But for bodybuilding, for example, 2 years ago when I was sort of just coming out of a cutting phase and 12% body fat, and I'd been that for a whole year.
That's very lean on a female.
Yep. My squats, I was squatting like 90 to 100 kgs for 10 reps. That was the limit of my abilities.
Yeah.
I couldn't go heavier than that. So, you can tell that from that, changing track and doing the powerlifting training has lifted my ability to lift a lot heavier.
So do you think that you've put on muscle mass since you've been powerlifting?
I know I have. And that's another reason why I changed, because I'd got to the point in bodybuilding where for like 9 months, I had not gained muscle mass. It took me 6 months of eating and training in a powerlifting style to turn that body mass around and start gaining.
So you've gained muscle mass. So do you think if you went back to bodybuilding, you would potentially be a better bodybuilder?
Yes. I'd have a lot greater muscle mass. Alma's explained it to me and I understand the basics. Powerlifting employs a different structure of firing of neurons in the muscle.
Yeah.
And so powerlifting you need to fire them all at once.
Yeah.
And the more neurons you got, the more power you got. And so at the moment I'm growing muscle and neuron numbers. And when and if I convert back to powerlifting, because I I now, for example, squat at 140 kgs, I will get a great gain in size when I change back to the hypertrophy training of bodybuilding.
Yes. So do you do any hypertrophy cycles or like conditioning cycles, or are you purely just pushing the lower rep ranges for powerlifting? Is that your definition of powerlifting training?
Because of my physique, and this is one of my strengths, I have the muscle mass developed from 6 years of bodybuilding, very balanced muscle conditions through the whole body. So, and because of that 6 years, I have got substantial muscle condition. So in terms of powerlifting, I have got a lot more muscle condition than the average athlete or powerlifter, you know, and that's why I weigh at 86 kilos with a BIA body fat assessment of like 25%. I'm right on average. So for hypertrophy phases, I don't need to build as much strength or hypertrophy type training as an ordinary powerlifter, because I've already got it. So I might do 4 to 5 weeks after the likes of nationals, but then the rest of my year is spent building power.
So it's spent building the neural connections to then get the muscle that you have working for you. That's interesting. That's good. So you've got that base. I always recommend that to people, definitely, as well, to get, like, people are like, oh, I want to, go heavy on my squats. And I'm like, yeah, but why are you going to max out your squat if you've got no muscle there? Like, what are you going to squat? Or why are you training power when you've got no muscle to create the power? So I think you've got a really good base there. And bodybuilders do typically do very well if they come over to powerlifting, because they have the proprioception to understand technical cues as well. Do you find that quite easy as well, to understand different technical cues that Elmer gives you?
Yeah, very much so. The problem that bodybuilders have is that they won't eat.
Yeah, scared of a calorie surplus.
Yeah. And interesting, I have an in-body machine, and I've been specializing in working with bodybuilders and powerlifters, and particularly with regard to females, if they are in a calorie deficit and lower than normal body fat range, they actually won't lay muscle down. They will not gain muscle condition until their body thinks they're in a normal body fat level. So you have to maintain that in powerlifting in order to lay new muscle down.
Yeah. That's sort of that argument when people say that they, as you get leaner, there's a certain tip-off point where your strength starts to decrease. As in like a bodybuilder in a prep or whatever, a lot of people say that as they, 6 weeks in, they're still strong as, and then week 7 and 8 come around and the strength drops off.
Yep. You just haven't got it there to fire it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You often hear of people when they've lost a lot of weight who previously had a very good bench, that it's one of the lifts that's adversely affected by losing body weight. I actually don't know why.
We're getting into the nitty gritty here, Greg. What are you going to take me down to wrap up?
Well, it happened to me, so I'm thinking, why the hell did my bench
for most people, any great change in body shape, your leverage is entirely changed. Your body's got to learn a new coordination. What your body thought was a squat is now not. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't have a lot of it is so when you lose weight or body mass in general, for most people it affects their bench and their squat the most, and the deadlift the least. Actually, when some people lose weight, their deadlift goes up. We've talked about this with the wider waist. So for the bench and the squat, the reason that quite often people's lifts go down when they lose body mass is because you get less surface contact. So you're less stable at the weakest position of the lift. So you think about on a bench press, I'll explain it so that when people are listening, they can understand. So when you're on a bench press, when you're touching your chest with the bar, if you're big, you have a lot of surface contact in your elbow joint between your forearm and your bicep, and between your triceps and your lats, etc., etc. So at the bottom, you're nice and stable. If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas if you have a lighter person, that's why you quite often see bigger guys. I mean, I know for myself, and I know Wade as well, we have much narrower bench grips than most people would think. People are like, oh, you've got to put your, and I think, Christine, yours is similar. You're a bit closer in as well than most people would think. People are always like, oh, wide is better. You got to put your index finger on the ring and make the most of the max width, etc. But for someone who's got more muscle mass, or is just a bigger frame in general, that's not typically the best, because they lose that surface contact if they're outstretched. So the same thing happens on a squat. If you lose body mass around your waist is narrower, so you're less stable at the bottom of a squat, which is the weakest position.
Yeah.
You know the old school powerlifter that had like the big belly. It's like a beach ball in between you, so it keeps you upright. So your leverages are great. You know what I mean? Your hips, as you're coming down, if you stay upright, your hips stay under the bar and you just shoot back up. There's no, whereas the lighter guys, they don't have that. So they have to make the most of the leverages to then try and have a much more technical style of lifting to try and lift similar poundages as such.
I used to marvel at watching Dale Shepherd. So a lifter from
great. He's great.
Days. Yeah, even though you compete at 115, 118, I think. He's probably going to correct me.
He'll tell you. He'll have it down to the
he'll
three
have it, exactly. We'll have to get him on to correct me.
He'll have the time of day you weighed in, the date.
Exactly, but the surface area on that man, even though he was, I think he was probably 3% body fat at all times, but just this massive, big areas of body mass.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he would bench. It almost looked like a close grip bench, and yet and he'd come down in astronomically slow speed, and yet push 215 off his chest with relative ease.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. So you look at the size of his. This is one of those things. They did a study, and they could actually somewhat correlated the size of the biggest benches in the world's biceps to their bench press, if that makes sense, because of the surface contact at the bottom of the bench.
Yeah.
And they all bench with a real narrow grip, well, comparatively to how big they are. I mean, if you look at Julius Maddox, he's huge. He's enormous, but he has the same bench press grip as I do.
Yeah.
When he's twice my size.
Yeah.
Because you think about when he's on his chest, the amount of surface, his bicep touches about halfway up his forearm. And so then he's so stable on his chest that as soon as he pushes, it just goes straight into the bar. There's no wobble. There's no loss of force production. There's no anything. It just goes straight up.
That's the same with, I think, like Scott Mendelson and Ryan Kennelly as well. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. They're all very big dudes, and they're very stable on the bench. You think about how much, it's one of the reasons why they have, weight classes, really, isn't it, as well? You have a 140 kilo dude lying on a bench. He's pretty damn stable, He's not going anywhere.
No.
And a lot of those wider grip benches as well, they got, it works for guys in shirts, again, because your shoulder joint's protected. Whereas, I don't know about you, but my shoulders absolutely scream at me if I go wider than, ring finger on the ring.
Yeah, I think that it tends to, I don't know about other guys over 40, but I've definitely noticed once I've hit 40 that I need to bring my grip in because the shoulders take a real hammering and they don't seem to recover as quickly as they used to. So, yeah.
That's also 20 years of training though, Greg. It's a lot of wear and tear, on a mobile joint.
Yeah.
I don't mean to put you down there, but,
20 years, yeah.
Well, when did you start training?
Oh, look, I would have been in the gym at 15, 43 now. So that's,
so it's 28 years of training.
28
on
years,
and off,
exactly. Yeah.
So your shoulder, and we're getting into the nitty gritty again here. I told you, you've seen me
it's down a rabbit hole with you, isn't it? Yeah.
So your joints are made for different purposes, and your shoulder's made for mobility. It's a circle. It's made to go around in circles and be able to move 360. Whereas on a bench press, we're trying to make it flat and stable and stick. But it's not made for that.
No.
You know, so that definitely has some wear and tear on the joint, because no one can keep their shoulder 100% stable on a bench press. So there's always going to be little minute, you know, wear and tear, and it builds up, like say 28 years. And I doubt you thought about how stable your shoulder joint was when you were benching when you were 20.
Well, you don't think about much when you're 20, to be honest.
No,
you know, you're indestructible. Yeah.
Stuff just happens.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. You can bench every day if you need to.
I did. Remember, we've just, you know, I did barbell bench Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and dumbbell bench Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Well, obviously it paid off. Yeah.
The program, man.
That's the program. That's the dream program.
Exactly.
I wish I could do it now. I might try it. Might have a bash for a couple of weeks, see what happens.
Why not? Wade, any crazy stories from training? Have you done anything stupid?
No, nothing. I'm pretty. As far as like the stupidest thing I do is like max out when I shouldn't, but I'm even pretty disciplined with that. It's just I'm not in there to do anything dumb or walk around like an ego lifter. Like in most gyms, I'll probably be the strongest anyway. You know, so it's not like I'm feeling like I have to compete with anyone or anything at like the gyms that I train at.
Yeah,
it's just I'm there for a purpose and I'm just getting it done.
Nice.
Yeah, it's good. So Wade, you're still coached by
thing as well. Yeah, just nothing full on. It's just like we touch base all the time, and it's more of a situation where it's like you give a man a fish and you feed him for a day, but you teach him to fish and he's sort of for life sort of thing, where these really help upskill me in a lot of ways with not necessarily powerlifting specific stuff, but being an athlete in general. And
that's really good.
Like what to eat, how to sleep, my life outside of the gym. Recovery, we're real big on recovery with like my foam roller and massage. The missus hates it, but she's giving me deep tissue work, like 2-3 times a week at least.
I swear, babe, coach said
chiropractor stuff as well. It's all yeah. This is a team sport now.
Yeah.
Now, Christine, you've been married for how many years now? Better get this right. Murray's listening.
47.
47 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
How important has Murray's support been, your husband's support in all your endeavours?
We're a team. We do everything together. Patience. To be honest, I mean, he is so patient. I train 4 days a week, and he always comes in with me. He's got his training, and I'm the original. I can't train with him. I never could. I'm the original Black Widow. I would kill him in terms of he tells me to do something and I just jump on him. That's why I sort of let him have his space and I have mine. But I mean, he follows, not literally follows, but he's everywhere with me. To have that partner there who is accepting, it makes the world of difference. And I am very fortunate that I've known no other way. But it swings and roundabouts. He benefits out of it too. Getting the opportunity to travel together is amazing. And that's what we're enjoying now. At 60, we can actually have time to train together and travel together and experience things. And I'd far rather travel to a competition and meet real people rather than be tourists that are taken around all the yuppie places. It's a very real environment to travel to a competition and get to do things through there. But Leon is hugely patient and very supportive. yeah.
That's fantastic. And Wade, you've got a supportive partner, I assume. Obviously, gonna need one, given your meteoric rise in competition plans for next year and the years beyond that.
Yeah, big time. We're just a big team there, family unit, and yeah, she's been really awesome about lots of things as well, not just like the powerlifting side, but all sorts of things outside, blending lives together, you know, blending families, and yeah, really, really, really supportive.
Awesome. All right, guys. We'll close things off. Any quick shout outs that you want to do before we wrap things up? Actually, a couple. Wait there.
Pepsi Max Raspberry.
Pepsi Max Raspberry.
At Beast_Builder. Still waiting for the sponsorship. Still waiting.
I've got two things for you guys, so I need to send them out in the mail. So
here we go.
Christine and Wade, here are your overall trophies for the push pull, the virtual push pull win from the other day. So that'll be coming. Yeah, here we go, Wade. That's yours.
Yeah, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, your virtual cups. So I'll get those in the mail. So congratulations for your win. It's fantastic.
Sound smaller in person.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But as we wrap up, anything you'd like to say just to in our final moments, Christine?
Shout outs, shameless plugs. Get into it. Instagram handles.
No, I would just, as always, and I know it's like a broken record, but I'll never say it enough, to thank Alma. He is the one that keeps me going at a level, keeps me focused when I want to deviate off and go and do this and do that, brings me back to account. Without the trainer there, you're only I'm only half a lifter. So, you know, it would always have to be him. And apart from that, GPC that gave me the first taste of competitive life and gave me the opportunity to take the bull by the horns and travel to the worlds. The confidence having Steve Hampton and Joanna there, who had already been to worlds, was immense. You need to travel in teams, and ultimately it is much more enjoyable as a team. So yeah,
awesome. And Wade, final words from yourself.
Yeah, big shout out to Lee as well, helping me out, and the whole team at Tutonu. We've got a nice little group of athletes there. We all push each other pretty hard. It's all like multi-sport. So there's some of the best athletes that New Zealand's got to offer, but, you know, all sorts of sports, football, sprinters, all different sort of training, but all the same mindset, you know, and we're all working towards the same sort of goals.
Awesome.
As well as Mad Mike, got to give a shout out to Mad Mike. He pulled a 270 at the IPL deadlift only comp.
Yep.
PB. Yeah, I went down and watched, and
he's great value,
gave him
man.
a few words before his lift, and
yeah.
Oh yeah, he's the best supporter there is, and yeah, I just wanted to give back.
He's another guy who's made the crossover from bodybuilding to powerlifting now.
Bodybuilding.
Yeah. And then I saw Ashley, who we had on the podcast, 2 episodes ago. She pulled a PB of 240.
Yeah.
Which is mint.
Massive, bro. So fast.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looked pretty good.
So that would have been, Wade, you took out, you would have been the winner of that one, and Ashley was the women's winner, I assume?
Oh, I didn't compete. I just went down to...
No, he let someone else win.
Oh, he let someone else win, eh? Yeah.
I think 305 was the biggest male lift.
Yeah, I saw
was it Aaron?
Kotuku.
Kotuku.
Aaron's training partner.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think, yeah, was Aaron competing? He did a sumo, I think.
Yeah, he just did sumo.
He was having a muck around with sumo.
We won't talk about that,
What
Aaron.
a waste of time.
I know. You need to lift properly, mate.
Yeah. But, I saw there was a 305 from Kotuku.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Ashley did a 240, so it's a big PB.
Nice.
And then, Mad Mike. I actually saw that Mike did the old he pulled 267.5, and then got to the top, got a bit excited, and dropped it.
Uh-oh, that's a boy.
Didn't control it down,
There's a
so
body
red
boy on him.
lights.
Red lights. Yeah.
They went and did it again, and then pulled 270. So it's like 3 heavy deads, and
Ooh.
Oh no, the 267 was the weekend beforehand.
oh, was that the weekend beforehand?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, was
that
it?
was
and
at
then,
GPC Push.
Oh, that was at
Pull.
the GPC one that he didn't get it. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
And
that's
then he
right,
comes
yeah,
back and
correct.
PRs again the very next week.
Yeah, it was again the
He's
next
just
weekend.
a walking PR machine.
I was gonna say, I'm sure he probably controlled that one down, set it down like a baby.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right, guys, thank you very much. Jackson, any final words from you as we wrap things up?
No, good stuff. I think I just want to add in that Wade probably has the biggest triceps in New Zealand.
That I would second that.
I would, yeah, okay. We need to get that put on like a cup or a. Oh, look at that thing! Look at it. It's like its own weight class.
It's a big slab of meat there. I think it's the size of my thigh.
I think, yeah, I wouldn't
Probably
measure it,
stronger
Greg,
too.
because it's probably closer than you want to think.
I don't want to measure it. I'd be embarrassed.
Oh, but no, until next time, team. Both
Awesome.
you two are in for big years next year, 2021.
Really looking forward to seeing what you both achieve. Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Can't wait to see what you both achieve. And
I mean, 2 and 3 years in powerlifting, respectively. That's huge. They're already 2 of the best lifters in New Zealand.
Exactly. And you're both destined for great things internationally as well. So look forward to seeing what you both achieve next year. So that, folks, comes to an end, brings an end to this episode. Thank you for joining us. Big shout out to our supporters and everybody listening. And please, I don't normally ask this, but chuck a like on or share it with friends. And then we'll get more people to watch our little podcast here or listen to our little podcast. But until the next time, we'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Good night.
That's it.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Greg.
guys.
Thanks, Jackson.
Done. All right, guys. How was that? You happy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good.
Nice.
Easy enough.
Christine, you dropped out very early on in the podcast, so I'll do a little bit of clever editing. I don't usually do a lot of editing, which is good because I'm not very good at it. But I'll give it a go. I'll give it a go.
Can you also edit my triceps a little bit bigger?
I'm not that good, mate. Yeah, I don't think I need to. Now, what I might do is edit my triceps.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put my head on your head and then on your shoulders. Yeah.
Nah, won't fit.
Won't fit, eh? No, look a little bit silly, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Really appreciate you coming on. We'll probably get this episode up in the next day or two. But listen in and then share it if you can as well. Share it amongst your little social media clicks and then we can get the word out.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Yeah, then Wednesday night we've got, I don't know if you guys know Kathy Millen, but we've got Kathy Millen on Wednesday. So she's an old powerlifter from the 80s,
80s, 90s, yeah.
80s and 90s, yeah, Hall of Famer.
She was in powerlifting when I was competing in bodybuilding.
Oh, is that right? Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, she's been around the block, and so
She was daunting.
Yeah. So we got her on Wednesday night. So we'll get your episode out first, and then a week later we'll do Kathy Millen.
Yeah, we'll get that out this week, and then Kathy next Monday.
Cool. But again, thanks guys. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your time, too.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
All right. See you later, eh?
See you guys.
See you later.
See you, boys.
Yeah.
See you later, guys.